Welcome back. It is Monday, and I can't think of a better way to start this week off. Dustin Pierce's with us as well, but Michael Lewis, the new head coach at Ball State, is with us. Michael, how are you, brother?
I'm doing well, fellas. How are you guys?
I'm doing well. Dustin is with us as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I know. First thing I noticed is your office is devoid of anything other than. So that just tells me you just been in there working hard, baby.
Well, it's just my staff and I now. Today is the first day we've had the full staff here in the office. We got together this weekend. We're out recruiting, but I think I'm going to have to wait till my wife gets here to kind of start with the decorations behind us. But so we're a little bare, but it's
Smart
been a
move, by the way. Smart move.
Yeah, but it's been a great 2 weeks. I feel like we got a lot of work to do, but I feel like we've gotten a lot accomplished in 2 weeks as far as trying to set a foundation for the direction in which this program wants to go.
What's it like? This has been a long time coming. You have put in your time, paid your dues, been an assistant at some great programs, Butler, over to Nebraska in the Big Ten, UCLA, of course, and now to become a head coach, to be the guy that's putting the plans together, as you talked about. We were talking about going out and recruiting, going out as the head coach. What is that like for you to know that you are the guy now?
Well, I don't really look at it that way. I'm really happy with the staff that I've been able to put together here. I took some advice from Mick Cronin, and I tried to hire 3 guys that I believe can be head coaches, and we'll go work to get this thing done the right way. But this going out and knowing that it's your program and the things that you want to put in place. And to be able to do it at a place like Ball State, which I think mixes very well with how I view my program and what I want to do. It's a perfect fit. So I think Ball State's going to attract the type of student athletes that I value and that can build a winning program here.
Dustin, are you still there? I think we may
He had
have
to
lost
step
him
off for a second. He had to step
Oh,
off.
okay, no problem. So now you've got to jump into the recruiting, the thick of the recruiting, and you're going to do so in the state of Indiana, which you have a great familiarity with, and produces a ton of talent. And now but there's so many other new things that are out involved in this, Michael, and that as you're becoming head coach, the transfer portal is new, NIL stuff is new, and now you've got to navigate all of that at the same time as becoming with your first head coaching job. How hard does that make it to navigate all that stuff at once?
It's a lot of fun. Like, people are like, oh, you're busy, and how is it navigating the transfer portal? How is it recruiting in today's landscape? Like, let's not overthink this, Jim. Like, I coach basketball for a living. Like, I feel really fortunate to have that opportunity. I get an opportunity to go out and represent a university like Ball State, and try to attract young men that give them an opportunity to set themselves up for success in their future. So this isn't hard work. Like, I mean, it's you're busy and you do a lot, but when I was on the road this weekend and you run across guys like, oh, I bet you're grinding. Like, no, man, I'm not grinding. Like, this is fun. This is it's basketball, right? I'm not doing what a lot of people in this world have to do, and I feel very fortunate to do that. So I don't look at this opportunity that way. If this job, I've told people for the last 2 weeks, and I've said it for 18 years as an assistant, the day that this job becomes a job and work, and I look at it that way, will be when I walk away, and so this is a lot of fun, a lot of opportunity to be able to work with young men and try to give them a foundation to be successful. I get to use a game, Jim, to teach life lessons, and I get to use my experiences, the people that I've been very fortunate to be around as a player, and the guys that I've been able to work for as a coach, to try to help these guys be successful.
You, like I said earlier, you were an assistant at some great programs, and you just mentioned who are some of your biggest influences as far as being a coach?
Well, I think you can go down the list and look at who I played for. Obviously, Coach Knight is a huge influence on me because I had the opportunity to play for him. I know how the respect I have for him and the feelings I have towards him. And I've said it. I want the guys in our program to feel about me the way that I feel about him and my experience at Indiana. I want them to have that same type of experience or feel that way about their experience here at Ball State. And then you go down the list of guys that I've worked for, whether, being a GA for Coach Knight, having the opportunity my first job at Stephen F. Austin with Danny Casper to Mike Miller at Eastern Illinois. And, Mike is now in the NBA. He was the interim coach of the New York Knicks, so great basketball mind. Porter Moser for a hot second, Brad Stevens, Brandon Miller, Chris Holtman, Tim Miles, and now Mick Cronin. So, when you list those guys, you realize hey, I cannot be very good and just by accident pick up some pretty good stuff from those guys. And so like I said, I feel very fortunate. I've been really lucky in my career with the people that I've been able to be around. Then some of that is obviously by design. Each move that I made, I wanted to be around somebody different, where I could pick up different things. And I feel like I've been able to do that and yet remain myself and take those qualities and my vision to how I would like to run a program.
Dustin.
So obviously you listed those names, and that's some disparate personalities, I guess. What are the unifying characteristics? You've been around all those guys, and you go back to talking about how you felt about playing for Coach Knight. When you combine all those guys together, what are the sort of unifying characteristics that are sort of driving you as you get started here?
They're all about the same thing, right? They're all about winning. They're all about having quality individuals in their program. They're all about working hard to share, to use basketball to give life lessons, right? I think athletics is a great teaching tool for life, because you got to there's accountability, there's discipline. You have to deal with losses. You have to understand how to deal with that. You can't just run from it all the time. I just think it's an unbelievable teaching tool for life, athletics in general. But all those individuals, even though they may have went about their business in different ways, we're all about the same thing, about winning, about providing opportunity for young men to be successful, and the characteristics that they wanted in their program. They wanted, kids of good character, high character, overachievers, tough kids that are coachable, that want to win. If you put those guys in place, then you can have a good program.
What was it about Ball State that drew you? Obviously, it's in Indiana, where you're from. A lot of great talent around here as well. Ball State has some history. Rick Majerus, former coach at Ball State. But what was it that drew you to that particular job?
I think the combination of all those things. I keep going back to the leadership of this university with President Jeff Mearns and Beth Getz, my athletic director, what they feel like and their vision for a basketball program here at Ball State. Their vision and what they think our basketball program can mean to the university is exactly the same that I feel like a program can mean and do for a university. So having those conversations with them and knowing that we're in complete alignment with what we're trying to achieve here. And then on top, you put that on top of being back home in Indiana, a place that I'm so familiar with and a place that's familiar with me in a lot of ways. Knowing who the basketball players are in the state. And when I mean players, I'm not talking just the athletes, like the AAU coaches, the directors of the programs, the high school coaches. I think it's as good a combination of high school coaches and AAU coaches as there is in the country when you combine those guys and why they're doing it. Why they're in the business that they're in. I think they're in it for the right reasons. I think they're getting coached at a high level. And I feel like when we would get these players at Ball State, they're going to be college ready.
Dustin?
What, in particular in that case, in terms of just, getting players and recruiting the whole bit, what specifically did the UCLA job do for your experience? I mean, that's obviously a different part of the country for one thing. This is coming back home, but what does that piece do to it, knowing the type of player you got to recruit at UCLA and also having to spread out like you did?
Well, it was an unbelievable experience, right? And when you go to a place like UCLA, you have a firm understanding, you can't shy away from expectations. Like, right, you walk into a building every day that has 11 national championship banners hanging above, right? You walk into a practice facility that has 41 first-round draft picks on the walls and 122 NBA, draft picks. It's a who's who of basketball, all through those hallways. So you feel that every day, and it for me, some people may get scared of that, but for Mick, for myself, for Darren Savino, for Rod Palmer, there's a great deal of responsibility and pride to be there, but also we want to add our part to that, so being able to go to a Final Four there and then another Sweet 16, and those guys are going to achieve great things there. The thing that I'm going to be disappointed about is I won't get to be a part of hanging the 12th banner, because it's going to happen. Those guys are really good. But when I'm talking about the Ball State, I said, look, I feel like I had one of the best, if not the best, assistant coaching jobs in the country. I worked at UCLA. I lived in Calabasas, Westwood. I mean, I saw the sun yesterday for the first time in 2 weeks, and some people have us in the crazy, way too early, number one team in the country is UCLA next year, right? You got 2 McDonald's All-Americans coming in, a top 30 point guard coming back. You have that team still. There's maybe some guys come and go, but it is set up for success. So this is not something I had to do. I wasn't running away from UCLA. I'm running to Ball State because of the opportunity that I think is here and the chance that we can build a winner here. But it was a great learning experience. I think Mick Cronin is one of the best coaches in college basketball, and he's at a place now where he can really showcase what he can do.
How hard is it going to be in the state of Indiana? Obviously, the basketball, I consider the basketball capital of the country for a number of reasons. But you've got Indiana and Purdue and Notre Dame and Butler and the other mid-major schools. And now with NIL and all that, how difficult do you think it's going to make recruiting for you? Is it going to make it more difficult, or is it make it easier? What was it going to be like for you at a Ball State?
We're going to be a player in this state. I think there's real talent here. I think there's real talent for our level here. I do think the state sometimes is over recruited because of the reputation that the state of Indiana has. But like I said, I keep going back to my staff. We have a staff that understands this state, understands the region. Many of us have recruited the MAC region, the MAC footprint, our entire coaching careers. And our challenge and our job is to understand who we are, what we're trying to attract, the type of players that we're looking for. And when I grew up, I mentioned this in another interview. When I grew up, if you weren't going to Indiana or Purdue, you were going to Ball State. And it's just how it was in 96, in the early 90s when you were looking at. They had some really good teams here. We're having success. Our challenge is to get it back there. And I think without a doubt, there's not a doubt in my mind that we can't achieve that. If you're not going to go to some of those programs that you looked at or you mentioned, then you need to give Ball State a real look. I think we've got some great excitement around our program right now. We have some really good support. We have some people wanting to step up and help and build this thing. And like I've told people here in Muncie, it's going to take us all to make this happen the way that we need to make it happen. And then people are excited about it. So we've got an outstanding arena. Our practice facility is as good as anything I've been in, and I've been in two of the best in my last 2 jobs. The excitement, it's going to be different here, and it's our job to make it different and to attract those type of players that want to come here and win.
Dustin?
You mentioned just in this Indiana as a state being over recruited. To what extent can you build a program at that level, almost entirely on in-state talent? How much do you have to go outside still? I mean, I think Indiana can foundationally build on the state, but has to go outside. Do you feel like there's enough guys that fit there that you almost don't have to leave the border to build a really good team?
Obviously, I like our backyard. When you look, I like our backyard, but I'm here to win, right? And I said in my press conference, I don't have a lot of patience. So if we can find what we need, in our opinion, to win, here in Indiana, then I think you have to protect that. Like we need to get to the point where, there's not young men leaving this state to go play at Murray State or Toledo or places around that are similar to us outside of our state. We need to lock that down. If we can't find what we feel like we need to win here, then we have to expand and get outside and into our region. And I think, again, with my staff, that we have connections throughout this country that we can attract those type of players. But the bottom line is you got to get the right ones, and they got to fit your program. They got to fit how you want to play. They got to fit your personality, and they got to be about the right things.
How did you go about putting together the staff that you have? I mean, and how you obviously probably didn't have a ton of time to do that, but how were you able to do that quickly? Did you already have this, when I become a head coach, here's a group of guys that I want to look at, or how did that come to be?
Well, this is like you said, I've been an assistant coach for 18 years. So this is an opportunity that I've been preparing for 18 years. So when I got the phone call that they wanted me to be the head coach at Ball State, it wasn't like, there was no moment where I'm like, what am I going to do? Like I have a pretty clear plan of what I want my program to look like. And part of that included the assistant coaches that I wanted to hire. I wanted, like I said, like Mick Cronin told me, like you hire 3 guys that you believe can be head coaches in their future, and you can figure it out. I also wanted to err on guys that I knew and knew me, where we had a relationship as we get this thing started. I didn't want to hire guys that I didn't know, and there was a lot of interest in this position, which made me feel like there's a lot of people that think and believe that we can make this thing happen here, with some of the people that reached out for opportunities. But I had a pretty good idea heading in what directions I wanted to go. And it was just, having those conversations and making it happen. So, I've known Lou Godino since I was in college. Obviously, Meeks and I have an Indiana connection. And I've, watched those guys work for several years. And then Ben Botts is a kid that I recruited when I was at Eastern Illinois, and so he's from Muncie. Like, I'm just, extremely pleased with those 3 guys. And then, really, we don't talk about it, but the steal of my staff may be Bill Comar, being able to keep him here, who he's worked for, where he's been, what he's meant to programs. Like, he's going to be a huge part of our staff as a special assistant of the head coach, and just, kind of running this program, behind the scenes and making sure we're doing what we need to do. So with those 4 guys, I feel like we got a hell of a staff, and we can go make this thing happen.
Jamal Meeks, a great. Who's going to be the tough guy there? Because, and I know that in talking to some like Todd Leary and those guys in the past, it said, man, Jamal was the guy I did not want to mess with. He was always the guy that was he was the first guy that was going to be in the front of if something was going on. You were like that as well. So there's no doubt that the Ball State is going to be tough as hell. But man, what a great combination of you and Jamal Meeks. Talk about bringing toughness.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty evident with myself and our staff what we're looking for in a program. We want guys that love basketball. We want guys that love to compete, love to win. And with that, if you love ball and you love to compete, you have to be tough. Like, you can't love to compete and be soft, right? So I think any good team reflects the personality of their coach and their coaching staff. And so I think when people come into this program, they're going to have a clear understanding of what we're about.
Dustin?
I just want to get a sense. I mean, when you have a sense that you could be a head coach, that's your game plan. Like, do you keep a plan? Like, I mean, do you have a Word document? Like, how do you put together? Like, is there a Google Doc? Is there a folder? I mean, like, what do you? Like, do you have a one plan? What's that look like?
Well, when you've been doing this for 18 years, like you just, there's not much in here. Okay. There's not much in here. Like I was joking with our president, he went to Yale. Right. And so I got recruited by Yale till I turned to my academics, and that was the end of that. So there's not a lot in here. Like, I can't do a lot of things, but I do understand basketball. I do understand what winning programs look like. I understand how they operate. So I don't know what kind of document you would call that, but it's been in here for 18 to, you count being a GA, almost 20 years, and then as a player. So, yeah, there's been a running, whatever you want to call it, in my mind. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'm sure like any successful athletic director, they keep a little list of names in their drawer. Like I have I've got multiple notebooks, throughout my career where, there's, I can flip through them and there's different names of guys that I wanted to look at for staff positions and different thoughts and philosophies and ideas. And it's a constantly changing thing. I think as a coach, you have to continue to evolve or you get left behind. So, yeah, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's been a working, let's say, document, so to speak, for 18 years about what I want to try to do and accomplish, and it'll continue to be changing, all the time. So, but it's like I said, this has been a lot of fun because it's what I prepared for. I feel like, it's not something that, like I said, I wasn't running away from UCLA. This is not something, I've been very particular in my career about the opportunities that have come my way and which ones I've taken, to set myself up to be as prepared as possible for when this day happened.
Someone asked, speaking of which, so what's your opinion on the current offensive schemes in college basketball? What's your philosophy going to be? Is it offensively, defensively? Just out of curiosity, with all that you've been, what you've been seen so many different offenses, from motion where you played to throughout your coaching career. Where have you developed?
Well, first I need to get to know our players more. They're going to dictate. Like I'm not here to. I told our guys in the first team meeting, I'm not here to take opportunities away from young people to be here at Ball State and get an education and play college basketball. I think that's a hell of a deal. And I know, like I talked about earlier, I know how I feel about my experience. I want these guys to have something as similar as they can. So I'm not here to take opportunities away from guys, unless they do something that dictates that, right? That's on them. But they're my guys now, and so they're my responsibility. So as far as offense and defense, I feel like part of being prepared for this opportunity is I've been around a bunch of different guys. We've won a bunch of different ways. And so it's my job as a coach to take the abilities of the guys that we have in that locker room and find a way to win. So my philosophy is to win. So how do we do that? Do we need to play fast and win 90-82? Do we need to slow it down? Like that's what I'm going to figure out over the next 6 months, is how we need to play offensively and how we can take advantage of mismatches and different things and put guys. How can I put our players in situations for them to have success? Like I'm not going to ask anybody in our team to do things they can't do, and that's my job as the coach. To put them in situations that are advantageous to them. Defensively, I'm a man-to-man guy, always have been. I think our level of pickup and pressure will probably be a little bit more than what they had here in the past, just on different defensive philosophy from what I've watched. But as far as my philosophy overall, my philosophy is to win. So how do we best do that?
Where does the floating green, does it make the trip?
I just got a house, and I don't. It's Muncie is not that big, so there's a lot of people that are.
It's not that warm either. It's not that warm either, Michael.
We're figuring it out, but I got a little. What is the movie like? You got a pool and a pond. A pond would be good for you.
Yeah, Caddyshack, man.
Yeah, there you go. So I got a pond. We may have to put that floating green out there in that pond, and the little 10-yard chip may turn into a 30, but it's we got a spot for it. We just got to make it work.
That's even better now. You can get a little further out there. That the little 15-foot chip, and that wasn't anything. Now you can put it on a rope and throw it out there in the middle of it. Talking about, I remember he was waiting for this floating chipping green for like 3 weeks or something, and it finally arrived.
COVID purchase. You get bored, you start doing stupid stuff during COVID, and so the one good thing about living in Calabasas during COVID is we had a nice little patio out back and a pool, and so Dustin, we got on the internet and bought a floating green, and so we just threw it out in the pool and it would float, and it came with a little mat. We just sit there and chip these little plastic golf balls that would try to make buckets. So it was all fun, all good.
I can see a great drinking game out of that.
Well, we may have come up with a few. You never know.
I'll have to do that. Well, I hope it
Early
makes the trip,
pandemic
man.
was a constant drinking game. Is basically what it was.
There you go.
That stage there were no rules at that point.
No rules.
Dustin, anything else? Dustin, you have anything else?
I'll just to make it real quick. I mean, I don't know if this is going to drag you out too far, but you talked about just building an offense around your players. I mean, but when you get to recruit guys, like, do you have? Is there a skill set that you value over others? Is shooting more important, or athleticism, or what do you? Is there anything? Is there a particular sort of physical skill set that you prioritize?
I like versatility, and I know that's a broad answer, and we'll get more into it. But offensively, I can dictate where you get the ball and where and all that stuff. So offensively, I can play somebody anywhere I want based on their skills, right? Defensively, I want versatility. I want to be able to, basketball is becoming more and more positionless. How do you, the more you can switch, the better, in my opinion, from the defensive end. Can you do things to shorten the shot clock where you're not, you're playing against great offenses each game? Can you do something to shorten that opportunity for your opponents? But obviously, when you have great shooting, it makes the game a little bit easier, right? You can have a bad offensive possession, and then somebody throws a shot in at the end of the shot clock, and everybody's all happy. You're like, oh, it's great offense. Like, no, it was really bad, but the guy saved you, right? Because he threw in a shot. So I like length. I like versatility. I like high skill. I like high basketball IQ. Guys that understand the game. That's why I'm so excited to be here and reconnect with a lot of the AAU and high school coaches here that I feel like do a great job of teaching the game. But yeah, I think if I could put together a perfect team as we go through this, I think you want length, athleticism, with varying different skills throughout your lineup. And you try to build a program where you're too deep at every position, where, if somebody's having an off night, or maybe somebody's not, maybe doing the things that you want done, like, the old Coach Knight, Mick Cronin, Rick Pitino, like the greatest teaching tool in the world is, hey, come sit next to me, just where there's a level of accountability, where these guys can learn how to compete, learn how to win. So not only are they successful here, but then they're successful in life.
Last question, Michael. I know it's early on yet, but scheduling wise, looking to schedule games with some of the in-state bigger schools, Indiana, Purdue, Notre Dame?
Well, it's something I got to tackle this week. We've had a lot of different things going on, but we got to get into the schedule. I think when you're at Ball State, like, I think, and I saw some guys over the weekend, we need to play a lot of in-state schools. But you also got to protect your program and do what's best for your program and what you're trying to build. So, I do, like, I know Indiana State's on our schedule. That I think they should be on the schedule every year. Evansville is a team that I think, Ball State and Evansville should play, IUPUI, Valpo, all those things. And then obviously if you can work in some games, with the bigger schools, it's a two-way street when it comes to those things, right? They've got to be able to, and it's not as easy as what people think, like, hey, you just call up Woody or Paint and be like, hey, let's, you want to hoop on Saturday. Like, it's not like that. There's a lot of different things that go into it: TV, money, buy games, and all that stuff. So it's not quite as simple as people think. But I do think for a place like Ball State, we need to try to do everything we can to protect and enhance in-state rivalries, so to speak, with some of the teams that I just mentioned, and also when there's opportunity there to play a bigger school. If it makes sense for both programs, it's definitely something you have to explore.
Man, I cannot thank you enough, Michael. Congratulations again. You've put together a hell of a staff. I'm looking forward to to following you and watching what all goes on, because I know it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to watching the season unfold and how everything goes for you there, man. And I could not be happier for you. You've worked your ass off to get to this point, and for it to happen back in Indiana, it couldn't be any better. But man, congratulations.
No, I appreciate it. We're I keep using the word excited because I wake up in the middle of the night, and your mind is racing with things you get to do, and so that level of excitement has not waned as I'm going into week 3 here. I still got a list of things here in front of me that I've been staring at, things I need to get done and accomplish, and it's been a ton of fun. Like I said, this is not work to me. This is basketball. It's something I love to do, something thankfully I've been able to turn in the only thing I know how to do into a job that, a career, right? So I feel very lucky to do that and to be able to do it here in Indiana at Ball State. It's special.
We're lucky to have you, brother. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for being such a great friend of the show, and good luck as things continue to unfold. Tell Chad thank you very much as well, and I'm going to be hitting up Jamal to get him on, because he's always a character, man. Your players are going to love him. Well, they're going to love him sometimes unless they piss him off, but they're going to love him. He's a character.
Well, they're going to get their first taste of them all here this afternoon. So I'm looking forward to that. So no, he's going to be great. Just as Lou and Ben. Like I said, I feel really fortunate to be able to put together the staff that we were able to put together here, and I think they're not only tough competitive coaches, but they've been in college basketball. They're experienced. They understand it, and they're about the same things I'm about as far as trying to provide the best possible experience for these guys here, because they get one shot to be college basketball players. So they're about the same things that I am, and we're here for the right reasons. We're just going to try to win some basketball games along the way.
Michael Lewis, Ball State head basketball coach. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations, Mike.
Thanks,
Have a great day, buddy. Michael Lewis, the head basketball coach at Ball State, joining us here on Indiana Sports.
You got something to say? Hold up.
Hey, when are you two guys coming up here to Muncie? We could get behind.
I was gonna come up to your announcement last Monday, but it wasn't going to work out because you weren't going to be available.
You see that? You start stuttering. Like,
don't worry, I'll be up there
I cover
as
Indiana,
soon as
so
it's available.
You got to schedule Indiana for a home game. So as soon as you pull that off,
I can cover anything I want. Mike. So I'll cover anything I want. I'll be up whenever you want. Hey, you just tell me when you got something going on. I'm there.
All right, fellas. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anything. You bet, buddy. Anytime as well. The great Michael Lewis joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Back with more right after this.